Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Welcome into the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. Rick is a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, been in the financial world for over 20 years, has sat down with a lot of people just like you, trying to figure out where they were on that road to retirement. Hey, Rick, do we have enough? Are we going to be okay if we retire? Those are the types of things that Safeguard Investment Advisory Group here to help you with. They're a retirement planning team here to help you with income, investment, taxes, healthcare, legacy planning, Social Security decisions, Medicare decisions. There's a lot on your shoulders in retirement. Wouldn't it be nice to have your own personal wealth coach, your own CFO, your chief financial officer alongside? Well, Rick and the team at Safeguard could be that, but it's got to be a good fit for you, and it's got to be a good fit for them. But they're here to help if they can. They don't know if they can help you until you reach out, so you can always give them a call, 800-700-1980, 800-700-1980. There's no cost to you to have maybe some of your questions answered, maybe some of your concerns talked about. There's no cost to do so. 800-700-1980. You can always go to the website to learn more about Rick and the team, but you can also find out some great information about upcoming events that you might want to attend. Safeguardinvestment.com, safeguardinvestment.com. Hey, Rick, how are you?
Oh, doing real good, Mark. How about yourself?
Doing well. And let's talk a little July 4th. July 4th traditions. Now, I will tell you that I do not like fireworks. I don't think I've ever bought fireworks as an adult. Never. But I do like going to the big shows. They're kind of cool. I just don't spend money on it. What I like would be hot dogs, brats, burgers, and beer. How about that for a July 4th tradition?
Nothing wrong with that. The only thing I'd add to it is maybe some barbecued ribs and brisket.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that either. Do you do anything special July 4th or?
You know, I guess, Mark, it just depends what day of the week July 4th falls on. If it lands during the week, then usually I don't because I have to work the next day. But if it lands like on a, let's say a Friday or Saturday or something of that nature, then maybe we'll do something like a barbecue, have, family over and grill and do all of that. But I know I told you a while back, I have a condo in San Diego. So fortunately, it's overlooking the Midway there, and they generally have fireworks. So we'll just go there and stay in the condo, watch the fireworks, and call it an early night if I have to work the next day. But, again, depending on what day it falls on, will determine if I'm going to go all out or,
right.
Just keep it mellow.
And it was a Thursday this year, so that's not a factor. We all have to work the next day. You would think they'd throw these holidays, say it's July 4th, instead of on a Thursday, let's move it. We'll really celebrate it on Friday. Then we all have a long weekend. That would make more sense.
That would only be fair.
Yeah. But you think about July 4th and what it's all about, right? 1776, all of that. It's about independence and freedom. But you think when you're sitting down with your clients at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group talking retirement, I would think those are two words that they would love to have associated with their retirement, independence and freedom.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's the big goal of retirees. And when we conduct surveys and we ask them, hey, what are your major concerns when it comes to your retirement planning? That's one of the major concerns. They say, hey, listen, I want to make sure that I have freedom and I'm able to maintain my independence because they don't want to be a burden on the kids. And one of the biggest fears for most retirees is running out of money. And just because, we win the comfortable retirement, let's say at 62 or 65 or whatever age they plan on retiring, another big concern is, okay, I know I won the comfortable retirement, but is this something I can maintain up until age, 88 or 90, just depending upon how long I'm going to live. So that is a huge concern, is not only winning that comfortable retirement, winning that independence, but also making sure that it is maintained over a period of time, now that we know many retirees are living 20, in some cases 30 years into retirement.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about it, if retirement means having the freedom to do what you want, when you want to do it, with whom you want to do it, and where you want to do it, I would think that's a lot of your conversations with your clients. How do you help someone work towards that?
Yeah, it's a step-by-step process. And, the big thing here is that when we sit down with somebody and they say to us, hey, listen, you know what, I want to plan for my retirement. I want the independence. There's certain things I want to do. What we have to do is we have to define, step one is we have to define what's most important to them moving forward. And it can't be general things. Oh, well, Rick, I want to be, independent. Yeah, everybody wants to be independent. What does that mean to you, independence? And when you say you don't want to be a burden to your kids, what does that mean to you? Let's define that a little bit. And they may say, hey, Rick, you know what? I want to be able to travel a couple of times a year. And then we'll define that even further. We'll say, okay, when you say travel, are you talking more international travel, or are you talking about, hey, you just want to be, have an RV and travel around the country? Is it domestically, internationally? Is it both? So we do a deep dive and figure out, again, on a variety of different topics, what does that mean to them? Once we define what is most important to them moving forward, and we have a detailed explanation of that from the clients, and there's targeted questions we can ask to get it out of them, then what we do is we figure out, okay, based on the situation that they're in now, can they achieve that? And some people, Mark, I guess, have unrealistic expectations, and we have to, be honest with them and say, hey, listen, you know what? Based on what you're trying to accomplish here and the way you're set up right now, we're not quite sure that can happen, but here's what we can do to get you as close to that as possible. So we're going to have to be realistic with the expectations. And then, quite frankly, there's people that we meet that, they have it already in the bag. And what we do is we say, hey, listen, you know what? You've done a fantastic job putting all this together, but here's some strategies that we can use to just kind of enhance what it is that you've already been able to accomplish. So really, it's not giving these clients false expectations. It's really giving them real expectations. And in some cases, if it means we have to make compromises, then we have to make compromises in order to achieve the goals that they want to achieve.
And Rick always says, if you give him 45 minutes, so if you call 800-700-1980, want to talk about your situation, right? Find out if you've already won the game or you need to make a tweak or two to put yourself in a better position. If you call him, he says in a 45-minute conversation, talking about you and your hopes and dreams and looking at your stuff, seeing where you are, he will guarantee that he'll give you 2 ideas that will enhance whatever it is you are currently doing. There's no cost for this whatsoever. Rick's here to help. He doesn't know if he can help you till you reach out, but he does say he's got a couple ideas. He's pretty confident. He's done this a long time, that he's pretty certain he can give you a couple ideas that will enhance whatever it is you're currently doing. To take advantage, give him a call. It's 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. Can you give me an idea of a couple things that maybe are more common than not when you're saying, hey, we can give you a couple ideas that's going to enhance what you're doing? Do you have any examples?
Oh, sure. I just had one that just walked out of my office today. Client came in. They have a good retirement plan. They have plenty of income coming in. Actually, they're not spending the income that they're receiving. And they just keep putting money away in savings. And over years, the savings has been building up. And yeah, they're investing in, CDs and things of that nature. And, one of the questions that this gentleman said to me, he's like, Rick, you know what? I feel like I'm getting a little bit beat up in taxes here, and my Social Security is being taxed. And, if there's anything I can do to reduce my tax, I'd love to, know what you can do for me. Anyway, long story short, when we looked at everything, I noticed that a lot of the interest and dividends and things like that he was getting, obviously they weren't using it to live on, but they were being taxed on it anyway. So what I did is I showed him some strategies in which he can still earn the same interest, still, have the same exact risk level that he was at right now. And just by making a couple adjustments on how the investments are structured, now we can let that interest grow tax deferred, which means that now not only does his taxes go down, but the way the plan was structured, none of his Social Security was going to be reported on the return. So now he's paying no taxes on Social Security, or at least won't be going forward. And now what we said is, listen, you know what? You were getting, $30,000 a year of interest, that you were being reported on your return, and that was causing you, not only were you paying the tax on that $30,000, but it was causing your Social Security to be subject to tax. Now, by reversing all that, the way we have it structured is, if he spends $5,000 of interest, great. Then he'll be taxed on $5,000, not $30,000. So now going forward, he has his investment structured where he's in control of his taxes and the taxation of Social Security rather than it just being kind of willy-nilly. And I can give you countless examples like that in a variety of different areas, whether it comes to long-term care, whether it comes to maybe just fees on the investments. We researched the investments that they had and noticed, hey, maybe they're paying too much in fees, or they were entitled to break points that they weren't getting. And I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, so it's a great opportunity for you. Maybe you would like to hear some of those ideas for you in your particular situation. Just give Rick and the team at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, say, hey, I want to have a conversation. I got some questions. I think I'm doing the right stuff, but I'd really like to know for sure that I'm doing the right things. 800-700-1980, again, is the number. No cost to chat with Rick and the team. There's no obligation. There's no pressure whatsoever. Rick's not going to lock the office door when you come in and not let you out till you sign papers and sign away all your money. It's your money. It's your hopes and dreams. What do you want to do? How are you going to spend your time in retirement? Rick and the team are here to help that. 800-700-1980. Back with more of the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. Back right after this.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information about Rick and the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for an upcoming seminar. That's safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
Welcome back to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. I'm Mark Elliott. Rick, a partner at Safeguard Investment Advisory Group. You can always find out more on the website, safeguardinvestment.com. A lot of great information there. Plus, you can find out about upcoming events. Maybe you'd like to attend, safeguardinvestment.com. We always give you the opportunity to call and have a conversation with Rick and the team. Any questions, concerns you have financially or retirement-wise, it's 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. I'm Mark Elliott. Glad you're with us. We're going to talk about some topics that we really don't want to bring up at the Thanksgiving table. These are taboo topics, really, that we don't want to. We need to have the conversations, Rick, I think, at the end of the day on these topics, but we're probably not going to do it in a general setting like a Thanksgiving dinner. So I'm going to give you, here's a topic, and then you give me the retirement side of this and how Safeguard would handle this. And the first one is death. We don't really want to bring up death and dying at our Thanksgiving table, but it is something we have to talk about, isn't it?
Yes. And here's what we do, because especially when it comes to the kids, they're like, Mom, Dad, they don't even want to talk. It doesn't matter if it's Thanksgiving or not. That's a topic they don't want to talk about, and they brush it off. And even if you do discuss it with them, I can almost guarantee you it's going in one ear and out the other, because it's something they don't even want to think about. So what we do for our clients, and we've done this over the years, and a lot of the things that we implement in our practice is actually based upon what we've learned from our own clients, is what they experience, is we actually created, and again, with the help of our clients, something called a survivor's guide, where, the clients can write in on this specific survivor's guide everything the kids need to know in order to settle the estate, or let's just say, God forbid they're in the hospital, something happens, and the kids need to step in and manage financial affairs for them temporarily. We have like a step-by-step instruction manual on what the kids can follow in order to be able to handle mom and dad's financial affairs, know what to do, where documents are at, sources of immediate cash if they need cash to pay, the bills, and the best way to handle that. So that way, nobody's, closing out a CD and you're subject to a penalty, or pulling money out of your IRA and now you're subject to a bunch of taxes because they're trying to pay the light bill, So we actually have a blueprint, an instruction manual that the kids can follow that addresses all those things. So even if you do have the discussion with them and it's going in through one ear and out the other, there is a survivor's guide that we do put together. The advantage that our clients have, though, is that if, God forbid, something does happen, those kids can give us a call. We can guide them and, basically hold their hand through the whole process. We don't charge them for anything. It's just part of the service that we provide to our clients. But when it comes to the kids, absolutely, when it comes to death, it's a very difficult topic. Between husband and wife, it doesn't really seem that bad, at least in my experience with my clients. It's usually with the kids.
Yeah, and that's awesome that you put that survivor's guide together, and that all they have to do is pick up the phone and call Rick at Safeguard. It's 800-700-1980. And I think we all probably should have something like that done. We just typically keep putting it off. Don't put it off. 800-700-1980. Next topic that's really gotten, I think, a lot more attention in the last 5 years or so would be mental health. And you think of Alzheimer's and dementia, certainly. That's a big part of it when it comes to retirement. Those are challenging times. But you also, even the positive side, where somebody that's worked and loved their job and now they retire and they kind of lose their identity and they're kind of lost. They're not really making that transition from working to retirement very easily. It's becoming a little bit of a burden on them.
On something like that, I don't know that that's a difficult topic for them to discuss. But what we have seen in those situations is when somebody's going into retirement, let's say they're experiencing that, they'll either take up hobbies, maybe they'll get like a part-time job. I've seen clients go, back into their old job and maybe just work as like a consulting position and until they work it in. But yeah, it can be certainly a change. You're hitting a new chapter in life. And then in some cases, I have clients that retire and they're like, Rick, you know what? I'm busier now than when I was working because now, I'm babysitting the grandkids. I'm running errands for, my daughter or my son. And, and maybe they have the opposite scenario. So yeah, when it comes to something like that, absolutely, that does happen from time to time. And there's a variety of things that one can do to, kind of work through that.
Yeah, it's really just having something in mind. And if you don't really know what you want to do and how you're going to spend your time, it's important to have something. We're retiring from our job. What are you retiring to? That's really important as well. Number 3 on our taboo topics, divorce. This is a surprising stat to me, Rick. Probably not to you because you've been sitting down with people over the last 20 years talking about retirement. But over the past 30 years, the divorce rate after age 50 has doubled in the U.S. Have you seen that?
I'm not quite sure on the exact statistic, but I mean, obviously, I believe your statistic. What I'm saying, I was not aware of that specific statistic, but I have seen it. And it's kind of, I just want to say, I think the older we are, that the harder it is, getting a divorce because there's so much entanglements and splitting up the assets and splitting up the pensions and all the rest of it. It can be, I think there's a big difference, getting a divorce at, let's just say 30 versus 55 or 60 or even 70. Huge differences. And most people are not going to plan for that in advance. So this is one of those things that if somebody's getting a divorce and we're sitting down with them, that is a very difficult topic because now we're having a husband and wife. They don't want to meet together. They want to meet separately. And now we have to say, okay, now that, pensions are getting cut or, assets are being divided, how are we going to structure these plans so that way each spouse is going to be okay? So that's a real tough one. And, what I can say is, if they can avoid it as much as possible, that's great. But, let's just face it. I mean, it is going to happen. And we got to kind of play the cards that we're dealt when it comes to that.
And that's really the nice thing, I think, about having Safeguard Investment Advisor Group and Rick Rivera on your side is you've got your own chief financial officer, your own personal wealth coach to help walk you through some of these things so that you don't get blindsided or taken advantage of. 800-700-1980 again is the number. 800-700-1980. Final 2, we know the final one that we don't really want to talk about is money. Money is what leads to a lot of those divorces to a degree. But before we get to money, and I think we all get money, I want to talk more about this one, the relationships. So grandma and grandpa finally get to retire, or maybe, it'd be grandma and grandpa because their kids had kids. And so their kids go, hey, we've got babysitters now. We don't have to worry about the daycare so much. I think grandparents have the right to go do what they want to do in retirement. Still, they want to see the kids, but they don't want to be mom and dad and be disciplinarian. Grandparents are supposed to have fun with the kid. Take them and give them the sugar overloads and then give them back to mom and dad.
Yeah, right.
We got to lay some groundwork, don't we, with this relationship stuff?
Oh, 100%. You got to set that groundwork in advance because I've seen, whether it be grandparents or parents be taken advantage of and they're not able to enjoy retirement like they maybe were planning to because now they are the daycare person and they're doing that, they're planning. Literally, I had clients in the past that are literally how to plan their travel, their trips, things that they wanted to do around the kids' work schedule and their babysitting schedule. So they're like, hey, the only time, my husband and I can take off is, during this time of the year when my son or daughter is off from teaching and they have a summer break, or, they're off on these weekends. So I got to limit the time that I'm gone, because if I'm gone more than, a certain amount of time, there's nobody to take care of the kids. And then in some cases, I've even, seen them help kids out financially to the point to where they even hurt their own retirement. So there's got to be boundaries that are set. Now, if it's something that you enjoy doing and that's part of, your retirement plan is to spend more time with the grandkids and all the rest of it, great. But if it wasn't, then you're going to have to set boundaries early and proper expectations without question.
Yeah, I think that's important to set some boundaries in there. And that can even be with your spouse too, right? I mean, you've both been working typically, and now all of a sudden you're both around each other 24 hours a day. And that may not be comfortable for some, may be phenomenal for others, but that can also be a challenge.
Especially between husband and wife, because I've seen scenarios where, let's say, one spouse, spends X amount while, during the working years, but when they go into retirement, we have to let them know, hey, listen, you know what, you can't spend the way you used to in retirement. We may need to cut down just a little bit here and there. So it's got to have proper expectations. But hey, if you ever have questions about any of these topics, feel free to give us a call. And I'm happy to give you ideas that may be able to enhance what it is that you're able to accomplish. Just call us toll-free 800-700-1980. Again, our toll-free number is 800-700-1980.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC.